Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. We're getting ready to go into our first game of the day, Resolve versus London. Moments away from the picks and bans. We've talked a little bit about the rosters. We've talked a little bit about the expectations. Let's start predicting. What do we think we're going to start seeing here in the early rotations of this picks and bans? Where do we think the priorities are going to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think, having sort of just had the NLC go by, we've got a lot of expectations of things like the Varus being probably a mainstay ban, or, first pick Renekton, Lee Sin. All of these picks seem to be very high priority. I think all three of those picks might still be 100% presence in the NLC. Viego is enabled here for our week one, and so is Gwen, so expect to see her also removed away. And Beely, even after a split break, is still getting Lucian respect bans. But Lucian is actually a little bit more powerful in this patch just because some of the AP junglers are that much more stronger now.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to ban it away. The AP jungle event we saw a lot of over in the NLC last week was this Rumble. Oh, well, this week actually was this Rumble, but it's getting banned away in their first game. So we might see a bit of a change up in the jungle now. Like you said, maybe the Morgana is going to be phased out. Teams might not be prioritizing it quite as much. The Gwen is still open. We've got the likes of the Lee Sin as well, a very high priority pick. And I don't feel like London are probably going to want to take that Lee Sin away. They can honestly think about first picking it because of its flexibility. We know that they will like it. I'm not sure if it's a Beely champion or not, though. As the Karma and Fresh will be the final bans, and it's quite a lot open still. The things like the Varus as well, which we saw a lot of last week in the ban phase, but just the Udyr.
Yeah. So with the Rumble banned away, Morgana, it used to be this trifecta on the previous patch of Udyr, Morgana, and Rumble. And with Rumble banned away and Morgana obviously not being as strong as he just was, Udyr just stands out as the most powerful jungler available on the patch. So that's going to be London snapping that one up. So Resolve now, lots of options. Like we just highlighted, the Varus is there if they want to take it. The Lee Sin is obviously there also if Resolve Academy want to take it. So plenty of powerful picks up and available.
Well, there's going to be that Varus. We saw a lot of that last week, and the Olaf is going to be the pickup for Back Echo. Now over to London. That's a good name, by the way. Over to London. See what they're going to look to pick up here. Are they just going to look to put themselves a solid bot lane? Got things like that Tristana that's been open as well. Could pair this up with something like a Braum for a bit of safety, or the Seraphine, which kind of flew under the radar a little bit for me there. That's going to get picked up. Remember, it's still technically flexible. It can go mid to Beely, can go support. We saw it in support role over in the NLC last week, so might just go over to Jeppe in that sense.
Yeah, and what I particularly love about this rotation from London Esports is that Tristana and Seraphine, of course, can both go mid and AD, respectively. And it's also a denial pick away from the Olaf, because you don't want to be giving a diving Olaf, a Seraphine on core of the top of it, and all of that extra sustain that Olaf just quite frankly doesn't need. So I think it's a very strong rotation here from London. And I think Resolve also in response picking up the Lee Sin also just makes a whole bunch of sense, just to keep up on picking up those S-tier champions.
All right, well, as the next section of the ban phase is coming through, we are going to see the Silas denied away from Beely. Are a fair few good ultimates for him to steal, so kind of understandable that they want to deny that. And kind of expecting to see an AP mid lane for both Otter and Beely, just due to the pickup so far. Very AD heavy so far on both of these teams as far as their carries and their junglers are going. So we'll see what the next pickup is going to be, what London look to ban away. I'm trying to think what's kind of been left open. I mean, the Orianna is a pretty safe blind ban. Slash blind pick, so I think that's understandable. Maybe something like a Syndra might rear its head here, just get that taken off the board.
Yeah, and there is also the Victor, but I'm not sure if Resolve would really want to pick up the Victor in this kind of scenario. The Silas ban actually does kind of strike me as not necessarily strange, but a bit of a signal here that Resolve, or rather Kenryu, are probably going to lock in something like an Ornn or a Malphite, because Kenryu is a bit of a tank slash utility player when he's ready. And that has historically been, or at least in recency in his most recent competitions, he's been on tank duty. So
yeah,
I'm expecting that to probably be the lock-in, and you just hide your support pick so you know where some of these picks are going. But no, actually, they want to pick up a little more engaged. They're going to go into the Rakan angle here. And honestly, I love Rakan with sort of pseudo-engaged champions or diving champions like the Olaf. It just facilitates him all the more. And it just means if Rakan's able to sort of use him as a taxi to get in, Olaf isn't being focused as hard immediately. Now for London, I think if they lock in Leona, it just makes the most immediate sense. It gives them that much more engage. It stops or is a little more of a direct counter to the Rakan in lane. Just gives them a little more less threat in that regard. And of course, Leona plus Tristana, if that ends up being the bottom lane, or Seraphine even, it's a very hard kill lane.
Yeah, what I'm also liking about this Rakan pickup here is it does leave that Lee Sin flexible between Kenruto and Otter, so they can get that counter pick where they want it, when they kind of know, because it's still technically flexible, so they can put that Lee Sin in either one of those two lanes. And now London, they're going to be looking for their mid laner here or their top laner, as they're going to take the set here. So it's going to be the Seraphine in the mid lane. It's going to be the set in the top lane. And now over to Resolve. The question is do they want to counter the mid or the top with with this pick here? And looking like at the moment they might just be looking for a mid laner, although I'm kind of getting a little baited by the hobbits.
They need magic damage.
They do need magic damage.
They need magic damage to try and even out some of this damage profile. I think between Udyr, Leona, and Set, there's just quite frankly too many frontliners here to sort of risk going any more AD.
I'm an idiot. Seraphine could just go bot and they give it to Mankey, and then Beely takes Tristana. I'm an idiot. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Kind of getting baited a little bit by the.
It's okay.
By some of these picks and bans, and I mean London, they outdrafted me. That's what they did there.
They've outdrafted your brain. But looking at these two drafts head to head, I think London, they've got a lot of direct engage. They don't necessarily need flanks. Udyr can run down some of these carries. There are a lot of peeling tools available to Resolve, but I'm also looking at their engage options as well, because if they're able to put down some deep vision and allow Kenru to get nice flank angles for these slicing maelstroms, he can tear apart the back line of London Esports, because it is only two champions, two carries. Here it's two carry, two tank composition. If you remove Tristana or Seraphine from the fight, all of a sudden you're kind of working with, full tank Udyr, Leona, and a bruiser Set, and it's not always going to be enough to win you these fights.
I'm curious what you think about like the Varus kind of pairing up with the rest of the team, because to me Varus is very much a champion who, when you get into those siege scenarios, is there for poking and set up onto the objectives. But then you've also got like Rakan, Olaf, Kennen, which is very much we go now. This is the go button. So maybe we see something like the on-hit Varus come out here, or do you think it's just going to be strictly poke? That is the optimal way to go.
I think it's going to be hard to try and play Varus as an on-hit champ here. I think what's nice about Varus is, one, he's kind of two champions in one. You can obviously go lethality or that on-hit. And the second is he's one of the few AD carries that actually offers flat-out engage. So he can still facilitate the playstyle that the majority of this Resolve draft actually has in trying to move forward, finding flank angles, just through the Chains of Corruption. So I think we're likely to see a lethality build just simply to try and hit the squishies and just kind of avoid the tanks and just be used as an additional engage tool here.
Well, we are loaded onto the Rift. We'll be briefly until we get going into the game. No, we're not. We've got a spectator bug. Woo! We're back, baby!
Yes,
did kind of, things were going way too smooth. We were due some kind of bug.
We were due something, yeah.
But we won't be too long. Hopefully it'll be a little bit and then we'll get into the game. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how this goes, because I think both these teams are not too bad. If I do think about scaling though, I do think I favor what London have got. I mean, Seraphine champion, we know scales really well. Tristana, obviously also a good scaler as well. And, Akka's a no-name. It's not like they're like hard scaling, but as we move later into the game, they'll be able to build up a bit more resistances and be a more effective front line. And when you're damaged, if it is this lethality Varus, the lethality Varus will kind of become less impactful versus no-name and Akka's on the poke area, and they have to look to just hit Mankey and Beely.
Yeah, it can definitely become a little bit troublesome for Resolve if the game goes on for a little bit too long. And also, with the set being there, he can just ult out the Kennen if he finds a nice flank angle, and of course can do the same to the Rakan. So Resolve do have a little bit of or a lot on their plate to try and work around here, especially in some of these mid-game team fights. Though I will say, the level 6s, they do spike hard on a lot of these first items, whereas London, they've got to sort of take a little more time in that regard. Mankey probably wants 2 items here before he starts doing anything. Beely, of course, on the Tristana, kind of the same deal. You want, your Kraken Slayer or your Gale Force plus that Phantom Dancer or whatever the second item will be picked up here. So London, got to be a little patient.
It's an interesting one as well, because, I don't think patience really suits the current meta. This is something Gulborg is very passionate about during NLC. Is the meta at the moment is play fast and loose, aggressive, and that typically is a team that kind of takes tempo and then takes control of the game. And our game time average is actually quite low at the moment. We were looking over in the NLC, we were looking somewhere between like 27 to like 32 minutes was like the kind of space where most of our games were ending. So when we get into this match and you go, okay, this team spikes on one item, that team scales. The scaling team typically hasn't done so good. Now, it's not like this team's going to have to sit back. It's not like, we're looking like a Kassadin kind of like really hard scaling. But like you said, it's these one item spikes. I really want to see Resolve be decisive and pull that trigger, because if they can catch London out then and keep London behind, they could snowball the game into a position where London will struggle to kind of hit those power spikes that they're going to need to be able to be relevant in this game.
Yeah, I totally agree. And on the point of sort of how we feel the meta is, I feel a lot of the strongest looking drafts are always the ones that are loud, bombastic, sort of shotgun-esque compositions where you pull the trigger once, and if you miss, you miss. If you hit, you've probably just done a lot of damage. So what Resolve are running is sort of along the lines of that sort of shotgun comp-esque style. So they, like you say, they have to hit the mark on these engages. And I think London, around some of these earlier objectives, they're probably going to have to pay some respects in regards to the strength of composition in the early to mid game.
And one of the other things you highlighted, which I really liked, is Resolve's dive capability. I want to see a dive. I want I really want to see that dive. Probably level 6 when you've got the Varus and the Rakan to just lock them down under tower. I want to see a dive bot lane, shut those two down, or just bring everyone into the mid lane and smack Beely about. It's a little harder for Tristana just due to the kind of mobility that you have, but I'm really liking what Resolve have got in that sense. So I think for them, it's a matter of getting this execution right going into this game, and if they can hit that execution, then we'll be good. Now, good news. Our little issue has been resolved, and we are onto the Rift for our first game of the UKLC summer. So getting into the map and getting ready to go with this game, it's going to be an absolute doozy, honestly. This is two teams with very high expectations, one of which is completely reformed and got a new roster. We'll have to see how this is going to go.
Yeah, and of course, Beely, Hepe, the two players returning from the spring split on London Esports, and as our spectator just highlighted, we're going to have a Mountain Dragon for the opening dragon of the UKLC. Thank you. There you go.
Give a bit of resistances for that tower dive. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Although No Name is going to be clearing fairly quickly on this Udyr, so
yeah,
kind of will be a little bit all over the map, which means that Bakako has to be a little careful not to just to try and sneak it away. So we'll see, how the lane priority is going to go. I'm assuming Resolve should get lane priority in the bot lane. Tell me if I'm wrong there, but I feel like early levels, right?
Resolve, nah, probably not. I think Rakan really does struggle. That being said, Varus is such a powerful champion that sometimes in some matchups he can just outright win priority by himself.
I guess I'm kind of writing the supports off in that.
Yeah,
sense,
you're right in the support section. In the AD to sort of Seraphine section, Seraphine needs a couple of levels before her wave clear becomes a little bit obnoxious, but
yeah,
we'll have to see. I mean, London are the ones that are actually leashing, so chances are Resolve are likely to give up priority. I mean, rather, London are likely to give up a little bit of priority in the early stages.
Well, Resolve do get first priority on the lane as they didn't go for the leash while London did, so we'll see what that kind of affects here as they are just doing their best to zone Jeppe and Mankey away. I think they should just be on the cusp of that experience range right now.
Yeah, I mean, none of them.
the minions aren't even dying, so they'll get that.
But I kind of want to talk about last split between these two organizations, because I think Resolve coming into spring, everyone kind of knew they were going to be first place, or at the very least, they were going Celia Masters worst case scenario. Whereas London, I think the expectations were a little lower coming in. No one really expected these guys to go the distance, and then they made it to finals, and not only did they make it to finals, they took Resolve to 5 games. Which was a very exciting finals, by the way. If for whatever reason you're tuning in now and you're watching the summer split, but you didn't catch spring finals, I implore you to go back and watch that finals at some point, because it was maybe one of the most enjoyable or most exciting UKLC finals that I think I've personally sat through.
It really was a really, really good finals. I mean, we've had some, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, we've had a lot of good seasons so far for the UKLC, as of late anyway. And I'm hoping this bit's going to deliver. I'll have to see for the moment as Resolve have got this wave slowly working its way forward towards London. As FGG is just going to get a nice little bit of poke off onto Jeppe.
Wow.
Actually, a lovely amount of damage onto Jeppe, chunking him down. Has got the pots to sustain himself up. Up in the top lane, it's been pretty quiet. Kenruto has got a wave kind of stuck about here for the moment.
Yeah.
And,
both junglers free access to their skulls though, just because of how the priorities have been, and No Name kind of eyeing up a gank. I think this wave is going to slow push back into Akka's. So if he is patient about it, he can make something happen. But
if he flashes up to Kenruto, Akka's is going to force the flash out as he comes in. Akka's holds his flash as No Name. Kenruto just getting a little bit caught off the guard there while he went to go place that ward.
Yeah, so flash blown. I think No Name a little overeager, in my opinion, in that scenario. Once Kenruto kind of finds you out and he uses that E to gain all that movement speed, you're probably not going to kill him. And even if Akka's commits with his own flash, you're still talking about 2 flashes for 1. And best case, you do get first blood, but I really highly doubt it just because of Kenruto's position and how close he was to that tower anyway.
Seeing Bakako is actually back onto the map before No Name does go for the reset thanks to that gank, so he'll have a bit of a leg up on his second rotation around the jungle.
Yeah, and talking about how these compositions sort of scale against each other too, we said Resolve likely to have the edge in the early to mid game. With Bakako's pathing, he's actually going to be on the bottom side when this dragon does spawn up, and he's pretty much had consistent priority on this bottom side. In the mid lane, slightly different story, but Tristana is naturally going to take priority into a lot of melee matchups, so not really too surprised in that regard. And Bailey's even hovering the top side at the moment in Fog of War here, just going to sort of pressure off Kenruto, but he had that wave delivered either way. But I'm expecting Resolve to try and stack up these early dragons just because of the strength of their composition. And with all the priority they've got, it just makes the most sense for them to work around it. Now, No Name, as you can see, is down here just because he's cleared his bottom side camps. Going to try and dissuade stuff. But oh my god,
oh, he just flashes into his face. The rest of the team are coming in. They've got themselves the slow. FGG misses the knock up with the grand entrance, but No Name is tagged and Otter slides in. First blood to FGG.
Yeah, Bakako, you might immediately look at it and say, that's a lot of aggression, but it makes so much sense when you look at the grand scheme of things because they had first move from the bottom lane, and Bakako sees an Udyr walking into his jungle. At this point, he says, wait, that's illegal. You're not allowed to be here. And the first move just means that No Name slowly drops down, even if some of the skill shots miss, and that's just going to be first dragon picked up here for Resolve.
Lovely play there, and that's that early dragon. One of the other things we have seen typically as of late has been early aggression, early dragons, and early souls. It's just a replay of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, not much to really say. You can immediately see FGG and Maiku already hit as soon as No Name walked into the jungle. I think it's just a poor time to be trying to either gain information, lay down a ward. Doesn't make a whole bunch of sense to be here right now. Ooh, game sense online for Kenruto. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Looks like it will be.
Just enough speed from rubbing his socks on the carpet, getting that static built up. He's able to jump out to safety, but he is down a level, so his ability to hold underneath the tower is very low. And Akka's got that level 6. He's just going to pick up 3 plates, and Kenruto is only just going to make his way to collect the last 3 minions. Oh, no, he's not. 2 minions. That's tragic.
Yeah, that was a huge wave that London just made Kenruto miss. So props to them, at least making something happen on the opposite side of the map after losing out on the bottom side to at least gain something in return. But still, pretty big loss. As I imagine, Resolve's focus in the early game is going to be these neutrals. They're going to try and put a bit of an artificial timer on the game. That being said, with this Infernal spawning up, it potentially alleviates some of the issues that London could run into if we see a Cloud Soul picked up. But this is one of those games where even if it is a Cloud Soul, you look at the champions on Resolve's side, they love Cloud Dragon, and a lot of the champions just love Cloud Soul too. Kennen, Olaf, Rakan, they all like moving fast, so they're not going to be too fast. And if it's an Ocean Soul, well, you're not really going to turn your nose up at an Ocean Soul.
I mean, I'm thinking about Olaf with Ocean Soul. It's pretty nasty most of the time. Got that Rift Herald spawning up in about a minute's time roughly as well, so Bakako in the area to deal with it. No Name is in the bot side right now. Jeppe not got that level 6, but Maiku has to flash away. He's already used the cleanse, so this time he's going to get caught out. Nowhere to go. 4 members brought down, and Mankey will secure the kill.
Yeah, I feel the teleport from Akka's might be a little bit overkill, and if you take a look at the top lane as well, I think Kenruto just crashed at least 1 wave. So it's not a huge wave to miss out on, but still a wave and a play going to be picked up for Kenruto. So sort of regaining some of that gold lost on the earlier play by London. And Bakako, just because of the timing of the play, he's immediately on the Rift Herald. So the response is instant. Now, the recall has come out from Hepe, and you can see Beely is trying to move over as well. But this could definitely be still a Rift Herald picked up for Resolve here.
I can hear the sounds of it getting hit. I can see on everyone's feed right now. We have had a bit of a freeze.
I think all of our feeds are frozen. I'm pretty sure we can probably still be heard.
That we've both disconnected at exactly the same time. Everything
and we can still strangely hear each other.
No,
we're about to find out. Yeah,
we're coming back. Unfortunately, we have had a few issues here, and there we are. First day back. This always happens. This always happens. But it does look like, just kind of looking at the map state right now, it does look like Bakako should just get this Rift Herald for free.
Yeah.
We can see that Beely was moving over to check, but that's about as much as he's going to be able to really do. I don't think he's got the ability to contest it. So that will be at least a kind of a play made with something gained by the side of Resolve. So it does feel like at the moment, London are playing like a step or two behind Resolve. Resolve make a play bot side. They send 4 members up to the top side, but the Dragon goes down. And then Dragon went down when the play happened. But, you know, it's they make a play and then something happens on the opposite side of the map and they just can't deal with it. So hopefully it won't be too long. What I've been told is one of our computers is set on fire. So we are quickly
it is hot.
PC. It is hot today.
It is actually warm.
Here in Sweden, it's just snow up there. What are you on about?
I mean, no, but they said the production said it was pretty warm out there today. It's apparently 27 degrees. That's got to be like 35.
I mean, if that's proof that it's global warming, right? Like, if Sweden can get to 27 degrees, you know it's you know it's hot.
Yeah, it's pretty warm out in Sweden.
But yeah, we are currently just trying to reconnect and everything, get ourselves sorted to go into the game. So unfortunately, sorry about that, but you know, it happens. It's first day back of this particular show. And we had lots of problems on NLC. It's not exclusive to UKLC.
No, it's really not. It's really not. But,
well, I mean, unfortunately, due to everything in the world, we are still obviously at home. But you know, you don't see my bed anymore. I've got a backdrop which smells amazing. Like it smells of. It shouldn't smell amazing because it just smells like rubber and paint, but it's really nice. I don't know. There's something like it. You pull that backdrop and you're like, oh yes, that's lovely. It's brilliant.
I mean, I agree. The backdrop does smell great. It does the static thing though. I'm not sure what material exactly it's made out of. But
every time I get electrocuted, it's awful. It's not
not that bad, but
I don't know. When I pulled it up,
about it.
When it first came and I opened it, I could see physical sparks coming off it. Like you could see these big blue sparks. I was like, oh god.
So could I. I remember, but it wasn't that daunting. But you know, maybe lights are scary.
Blue lights are scary.
Blue lights are scary.
So we don't use them on traffic lights because they just make you scared. We are currently, if you wonder why I'm constantly looking over to my side, I'm trying to get updates on what's going on. Sorry.
It's okay. We're all in this together, Jake.
Jamada, what have you done? We've had a month off.
Yeah.
Between EU Masters and obviously, you know, our 2 leagues in NLC and UKLC. What have you done in this time?
I spent a lot of
time. Apart
from
get a standing desk, apparently. Although I know you're not on a standing desk.
No, I'm actually on a standing desk. I spent a lot of time reading books. I finished reading up this fantasy series I was reading, which was really cool.
Not Valdo. I can't.
I know you don't read books. It's called the Lightbringer series. I picked up when I was in 6th form.
You've talked about this?
Yes. I think I might have even talked about it on this show.
Wait, how long ago has it taken you to read it if you picked it up in 6th form?
So, no. So, it was originally supposed to be a trilogy. The author then couldn't fit all of the content into a trilogy, so he turned it into there's a correct word for it, but a 5-book series. Book 4 didn't come out until 2018 or 2019. And then book 5 didn't come out until last year.
Wait, how long ago did you leave 6th form?
In 2018 or 2017.
Oh my
God. 2 years.
Do you know I left 6th form 10 years ago?
Look, man, some of us are older than.
How tragic is that? How goddamn tragic is that? Because me and my friends always reminisce about my 18th birthday, because my 18th birthday was actually mad. By the way, we're getting back into game, but I'm going to finish the story. We reminisced very hard about my 18th birthday because it was an absolutely crazy event. And the other day someone went, stop talking about it. It was 10 years ago. Get over it. I just awful thought that was that long ago.
Time goes by fast, Jake.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah, it can be annoying sometimes, but seems like Resolve did pick up that Rift Herald. Oh, seem to have secured it at the cost of nothing. Just double checking. Doesn't seem like anything was blown or lost.
We are
But
still
now-
1-1, so nothing
We are
was
still
lost.
1-1. Yeah, so
Have got a dragon spawning in a minute's time now, so see if Resolve can kind of keep their foot on the pedal. I mean, they've got this Rift Herald in the pocket of Bakugo for a little while, so should just be able to place that down, afford themselves a bit of mid lane priority, and then look to pick it up. As can Rute can eat the true damage part of Aka's face breaker. Sorry, Haymaker. Forget the name of the abilities.
We're still going to be able to keep his distance for a lot of time here. Now, I really love what Resolve are doing on this bottom side of the map. As you can see, they've kind of starved London of a lot of vision down here. There's practically only one control ward in the mid lane on the bottom side here for London. Resolve, they're even going to try and force on this wave. They tried to stack up the wave, I think, but Mankey on the Seraphine cleared out a fair amount. They're not actually going to commit the Rift Herald. They don't think the wave is big enough. Or perhaps they want to save it because they know that they've got guaranteed priority down here anyway. And this dragon is going to be a free take. So let's see how London respond, really, because No Name was already down here. Beely trying to rotate up towards the top side, but Otter could be hot on his tail if he wants to be, and there's already a control ward there in that Pixel Brush to spot out the rotation. Resolve really clean map play on this bottom side here, starving out vision, gaining priority, and it's turning into another neutral objective.
Yeah, Beely is actually Otter's jumped into Beely. Goes into the river as No Name gets the bear slap off, and turns out bears beat otters, although the otter does kick him away. He's in his natural environment, the river. Otters can be able to escape.
So flash for flash, effectively, jungle to mid lane of London and Resolve, respectively. Not entirely sure how that happened, but hey, nothing else gonna come of it, at least. Now, No Name again eyeing up the top side. Feels like he's not really been able to get anything done on the bottom side, as of course the matches today after this.
That is a little confusing. So it's left to right, but left down, right down.
Yes, I think we might need timestamps on those.
Yeah, because it's Enclave versus Lucent is our next game, then Viperia versus Envision, and Bulldog versus Eminem is the final game of the day. Now, a bit of space has been bought here in the mid lane. Bakugo has level 6, and it looks like he's just going to summon the Rift Herald as Otter's there. Jeppe comes in. Remember, Otter has no flash. The Zenith Blade catches onto him, tries to flash away, tries to jump away. That's a great lock-up as FGG catches everyone with the quickness, and the charge comes out, and Otter gets away with his life. London unable to punish, or Maku able to take himself a couple of plates in the tower. This time it's not us. This time it's them.
Yeah, I mean, Hepe has to feel a little bit robbed. That was such a nice solo flare. If he was actually going for Otter because he kind of read that he was going to safeguard onto Bakugo there, still managed to get away either way, the Lee Sin. But yeah, got a pause, unfortunately. Real nice play from Resolve to just get the Herald down, secure some plates. Didn't actually lose, I believe, too much or anything. I don't think they blew any summon spells on their escape.
I can't remember. Normally, I could check, but unfortunately, I can't right now because of the pause. But we will be coming out of that fairly soon to say a little issue on this end. So while we got a bit of time, Jamala, I'm gonna go back to sick form. I want to ask you. Okay, don't worry. Actually, no, I'm still gonna ask you unless we get a replay.
Yeah.
Did you go to like sick form in your school, or did you go to sick form?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you did a sick form.
So I was tempted to go to a different college, but the colleges around where I lived they just weren't that good. And I feel like my school was just kind of better than the colleges. So replay here of the mid lane fight, scuffle, skirmish, whatever you want to call it.
Scuffle's a good one.
Yeah, scuffle's a good one. Such a nice solar flare to lock down Otter, but you can see FGG with the grand entrance and of course the ultimate there. It just means that he's able to CC up multiple members of London. They're not allowed to put down any more damage on to his mid laner. Real nice from FGG to keep his mid laner up and alive.
Yeah, honestly, FGG's had a really good game on this for Khan. I know he's only got one kill top participation, but when we have seen him, he's been pretty impactful, even in that first blood when he missed his grand entrance.
Just the fact that he was there.
Yeah, he's able to be on the map, he's moving around, he's being impactful. And the Birdman is up and down that river really, really quick. I called him a duck for some reason, and I guess that kind of makes sense because it's a river and he's a bird.
Well, but I wonder what kind of bird Rakan.
He's a peacock.
What? Oh, is it peacock? I guess that makes a lot of sense. Hey.
Locked down, slammed down, has himself the slicing maelstrom, locks a couple of members, and Akers just punches him.
All right. That's just set buffed damage, by the way, on his Haymaker, if you're wondering why Kenruro just suddenly disappeared. As Resolve, the response is immediate, but the collapse is also on its way from London, though it feels potentially a little bit half-hearted.
They got so many dashes. That's horrible. They got so many dashes and an Olaf who can't be CC'd. How do you catch that?
Yeah, it's a lot of disengage, and this is what I was saying. It's one of the strengths, even though, yes, you know, you look at this composition and you immediately think, because the Olaf is the Lee Sin, this is a fight, go composition. But their disengage abilities and tools are also so strong. That's what makes this composition so flexible. And just because of the nature of London's composition, where it kind of has to rely on getting, you know, 1.5, 2 IMs, even 3 IMs, if you want to kind of be sort of strict about it. It just gives Resolve so much sort of agency about what they can and can't do in these early stages.
Kenrito as well is just being hard zone waves.
Yeah,
every time a wave comes in, they do get themselves first turret blood in the top lane. Rift Herald was obviously used mid, so that tower has lost a little bit of health, and make you able to pick up himself a tower in the bottom lane. Solo gold to him, plus quite a few plates. Obviously, the plates fell off a minute ago, so he didn't get the final few, but he was able to get, I think it was about 2 or 3 in the bot side. You can see the gold graph right now between him and Mankey. He has got a pretty significant lead over him right now. As we toggle back, we'll start to see what items are getting picked up. Beely obviously finished up that Kraken Slayer on his final base, so he's now starting to hurt quite hard, and we'll see what Makey's working towards here. It is going to be the lethality, because I saw us rated Dirk in his inventory earlier.
Yeah, that is, and I like the fact that London are at least responding on the top side, because Resolve's play has been very bot side focused, or more neutral objective focused. But of course, more Dragons and Heralds have spawned at this moment in time, or are equal now, as the second Herald is actually on the map. But yeah, teleport committed here by Beely as well, so I think London, they feel a little bit too pressured by this composition here of Resolve. They want to try and at least contest for this third dragon, but much like last split, these third dragon fights are very telling of how the remainder of these games can actually play out. So if Resolve end up winning this fight and they pull a lot further ahead, London could be in trouble.
They're looking for the fight. Kenruto's coming in from the bottom side already. Olaf low, the solar flare lands onto Manko. Here comes Kenruto. They lock down 1, but it's not going to be too much more, as they do find Akers, and now Maku completely untouched. The charm only lands onto 1. A kick comes out from Otto, who slides back to safety. 3 members of London remain, and only Bakugo loses his life as they get themselves a double kill on to the Kennen.
Yeah, Kennen securing the double kill there. It was a nice angle Kenruro, but he didn't actually end up getting too much off the slicing Maelstrom, but he was doing enough on the backside bust. On the top side of the fight, it seemed like Resolve were able to hold the line. And with all that in mind, it seems like, or it will be, this third dragon picked up here. Ocean is the soul on the menu, and we'll get a replay here of this. It's Bakugo kind of out of position, but he of course does have the Ragnarok to avoid all of this CC. Eventually does get bursted down to the Haymaker flash, and on the top side you can see keeping Beely at bay. He's always back in. The Encore goes wide on the top side of the fight, but they just don't have the damage yet, or just don't have the damage at all really to burst down. He gets the taxi out on the Leona, and Akers on the backside of the fight almost makes something happen, but even if he is able to get the Facebreaker off into potentially another Haymaker shield, the remainder of London were already on the retreat.
Really nice fight there for Resolve. They've now got themselves 1 off that Ocean Soul. That fight started with him trying to catch Bakugo. Once he's got Ocean Soul on Ragnarok, he's so hard to kill. He's going to be a real problem for the side of London, so they need to contest this next dragon, but the gold lead is starting to grow more and more. Otter's going to catch this wave in the bottom side, and Akers, I think, can probably deal with him, but Otters isn't going to give him the opportunity to do so. And 2 towers to 1 in favor of Resolve right now. They've got Kenruto in the top side of the map, letting him kind of catch up a little bit more, as he did get himself 2 kills, so his gold difference to Akers is not so significant anymore.
No, it is not. And I mean, it's more about what Akers can achieve and what he can stop Resolve from doing. A lot of this lead set, I think, into this kind of competition. He's not necessarily the champion that's going to like pop off unless he finds these multi-man ultimates and Facebreakers to sort of tear apart Resolve and allow Beely to kind of free hit, allow the opportunity for Mankey to sort of layer an Encore over the top. Now, I feel like, honestly, for that Dragon, London maybe should have just let it go. Traded it for the Herald that was already on the map, and then try and at least sort of open up the map via, you know, trying to take down some towers and maybe give themselves a little more room to get some free rotations. But taking that fight now means they're still on the back foot. They're, you know, not really going to be able to control the map anywhere. It's still Resolve all of the agency. And oh no, they still managed to get the Rift Herald off the back.
Yeah, they were able to pick the Rift Herald up.
Okay, I didn't actually.
They are going to get the charge. This might just be the tower, to be honest. I don't think London Resolve are going to be able to come through and deal with it in time. And Maker going to try and deal with the Herald, but the charge is coming out. It looks like the fight is on. They get the grand entrance off. Quickness has been thrown down as Otter slides into Mankey. He has that charm available, trying to line it up as that's a big slicing Maelstrom. Everybody's locked down. The charm comes in from Mankey, gets himself assassinated by Otter, and the fight is just breaking out. FTG is in and out like a yo-yo from this fight as Otter slides into No Name, gets the Sonic Strike, can't quite finish him up as Beely jumps away to safety as Otter will finish him up. Resolve just absolutely squash London in the team fight.
Yeah, London just weren't able to find the lethal damage onto multiple members here of Resolve, and it just results in a losing team fight 4-0. Almost a straight clean ace. You saw No Name there was pretty much on 3-digit HP, very low 3-digit HP, and Resolve, they're not going to pull the trigger on the Baron just yet because they didn't really have the time. It hadn't spawned. It's only spawning now as they're on their reset. But with Dragon a minute and 50 seconds away, you imagine they're just going to reset now, go back out onto the bottom side of the map and set up shop again.
Let's have a look at this fight again. I swear I can speak. FGG just starting it up and getting out.
Yeah, it just wasn't really locked down. The Solar Flare again from Hepe is really nice, but the Slicing Maelstrom from Kenruto just deals so much damage and also slows down all of the diving members here from London. And again, both these top laners honestly finding very high impact abilities, face breakers, haymakers from the set, and of course that ultimate from Kenruto. But at the end of the day, London just don't have the damage to follow up or to find more than, or just any members in that fight case. And it's resulted in a pretty much whitewash for Resolve and still more map control to go.
Well, as we come out of this team fight and take a stock of where we are, we've got 50 seconds until this Ocean Drake spawns up. Serpent's Fang and the Prowler's Claw now onto Meku, which means the Seraphine shields are going to be somewhat alleviated. Same by Akers on his Facebreaker shields, or Haymaker shields. See the damage being dealt with this game so far, and honestly, Kenruto's been offering a lot for his team.
Yeah, he has. Even though he was obviously starved out in the early stages, he's still been able to find multiple man-slashing Maelstroms. And as for Beely, of course, he did have Otter to sort of hit in the laning phase, so his damage stats might be a little bit inflated in that sense, but Akers most likely certainly aren't. Still saw about 6.8k available for him, but this Dragon already 15 seconds away from spawning up. You can see Resolve, they're the ones with the river priority, and even the mid lane priority at the moment too. So London, they're gonna have to walk through some of these chokes. There's no flank angle coming out yet, but you can see on the minimap Kenruto is trying to wrap around potentially, but he's gonna stay in front of the Dragon Pit for now. London, they've got to try and find a pick. They've got to try and find somebody that might sort of just be off to the side before this fight starts up, but I'm not sure they're going to even be allowed the opportunity.
Yeah, Otter's hanging around that Blasco, making sure he can hop away if he needs to. Jepe's trying to zone him from an entrance in. Half elf onto the Dragon. They land the chains. FGG instantly pulls the flare, gets himself knocked up, but there's Kenruto to get the Proto Belt off, and the kill is there. Akka slides in as the charm does go through everybody, but Meku will lose his life. Jepe next up on the menu. Kenruto jumped onto by Akers, able to stun and lock him down as Otter comes in. The Zhonya's is popped and knock up will land. Kenruto just about survives as Otter is on a killing spree, and Resolve can return back to the Dragon. No Name is still alive. He has the flash. Maybe he can make a miracle. Maybe he can make a hero play happen as FGG is in the area. Kenruto low. Can No Name do this? I think he's just going to recall. I think he's just going to give it up.
Yeah, because if he goes for this flip here and he dies, it could even turn into something as big as losing Baron. Though there is double TP on the London solo.
No Name just flashed there. Otter's behind him. Sonic Strike is all going to be needed. As Kenruto takes him out for Proto Belt and a quick shuriken.
Huh.
And what happened there was he thought he'd find the kill, but the heal from the crab was enough to make sure that Bakugo healed up enough to live. And he has Ocean Soul, by the way, so even harder to kill.
Yeah, so Chains of Corruption come out. FGG with the ultimate is knocked away by the Buster Shot of Beely, but it's just not quite enough because Kenruto is already on top of him. You can see Akers dealing with Meku on the bottom side, and on the top side, No Name trying to kite up away with Hepe. Hepe does pay the price, and Akers does his best to try and take down Kenruto so close with the Haymaker damage. It's just not enough, and if you're wondering why I kind of giggled at the end of that silence, is because we can hear when we're getting replays, and in the dead of that silence, we just heard replay, and it just made me giggle. And of course, during that replay, Resolve just picked up Baron. So let's see what they can get done with it. 3 minutes on the buff, of course. London, I think, kind of being routed here by the early sort of power of this composition. They've not been able to hit these power spikes before they could start skirmishing. Resolve really playing to their comps conditions. They're stronger in the early stages, and they've just been abusing it. London haven't been trying to play necessarily away from it. And if they've been playing into it, Resolve have just been winning fight after fight, skirmish after skirmish, and now sitting 6,000 gold down, a Baron, and Resolve still have a fair amount of towers to also knock down as well. So there's a lot of standing gold still there waiting to be picked up.
You can see the gold graph, and that kind of really sings the song of this meta. Is the team that gets ahead stays ahead. As Otter flashes away from the solar flare, a lot of people brought up towards this side of the map, and I don't think London want to try and take this tower trade here, because they are pushing into Baron. Otter should just be able to play pretty safe here and jump away from Akers, who goes for the stride breaker.
Oh no.
They're going to be sieged up on their base, and the resets have only just come in for a couple of members.
Okay.
It's not a massive wave, though, so at least they've got
it's not
some
that
time, and Otter's is trying his best to try and catch people out. This tower will crumble.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it's just melee champions plus Mankey there, so they have to just give up that tower. Can't get close enough to wave clear, or they're at threat of getting engaged on and dove, so they give up 2 towers for 1. Base is now open on the London side. Certainly a nice trade if you Resolve. They also took the top tier 1, so it's actually 3 tower trade for 1. I'm very happy with that one.
25 minutes on the clock. The Baron wave is going to crash into this middle side of the map. And this tower probably should go down. I think we won't see too many structures standing outside of the base after this Baron push is all done. It's like there for the moment. They are stepping away a little bit. Beely's going to lose a little bit of help. We're not fully at that full power point right now from Makey. Kind of wants that third item. Okay. The solar flare is going to force him to flash. The teleport's coming in. The slicing maelstrom has been used, and No Name locked down and taken down already. The tower will collapse. Sonic Strike goes a little bit wide as Jeppe is just liquefied. Bakugo gets himself a double kill on the Olaf, and Resolve may just look to close this out here. They got they got a wave pushing in on the top side. They got a wave to crush in here in the mid side. 2 inhibitors go down, and 20 seconds until the support and jungler comes up for London, and London don't really have the wave clear right now to deal with these Baron waves.
Yeah, I mean, Resolve, plain and simple, just much stronger in the gold department, still in the compositional department, because these items are still sort of slowly coming in. I mean, Beely and Mankey are now at 2 items, but it doesn't really matter when Resolve are this far ahead in gold anymore, because they are just still going to be stronger for the next sort of 5 to 10, 15 minutes, and that's even if the game goes on that long. With these 2 inhibitors down and the Elder spawning in 2 minutes, Resolve can just play through the bottom side as a 5, take control of the bottom side of the map, leave one person in the mid lane every now and again to sort of keep the waves caught high up in the lane and just keep the pressure high on London.
You're 1 minute until that, 2 minutes until Baron. Chains are going down, and that is 1 dead Akers. He can run all he like, but Resolve will keep him locked down as Otter on a rampage, and No Name now on the wrong side of the map. His jungle will just be stripped away from him. Beely can't really do anything but watch as the red buff is handed over to Makey. Like we said, 1 minute 30 until Elder, 2 minutes until Baron. Probably just going to be all that is necessary for Resolve to close this game out. They may not even need them, as they're going to take their final turret outside of the base, and only 3 turrets remain in the game here for London. Their base, their structures are being squashed as Kenruto does get jumped onto. Does have himself the Zhonya's as he gets himself the lockdown. They're coming in to try and get the backup off as Kenruto is able to get away with the Proto Belt. The flashes come forwards, and Beely does a lot of damage to 2-1. Takes out Otter. And so far, it is just a 1-for-1. London can be pretty happy with that, but they can't be happy with the structures falling down. Inhibitor in the bot side will collapse, and FGG just zoning Beely away. Beely will find FGG, and FGG now slot down by the Storm Razor, but the fight continues out as Makey almost gets himself caught out. That's a lot of damage coming in from Akers, trying to see if they can get the chains up. Otter trying to buy a bit of space, and Bakugo running away. There is no Makey. FGG's coming in to try and save Otter's life, but he may just have to leave him to go down. The safeguard is used. Otter gets a taxi away with the Krugs over the wall. He makes it. And London are unable to chase any further as Otter going low. No Name slowed. No Name continues to chase him. They may just turn. They may just burst. Otter gets himself that kill. That's going to be the end of the jungler as the locking is coming down. Otter has to go golden. Zakas gets himself a massive shield off. The charm comes in from Mankey. The slams over the wall, but it's a triple kill onto the Lee Sin. Jeppe is going to be next up on the menu as he is just cooked in the solar flare. A quadra kill for Otter. He's hunting for Beely, but Beely not willing to give it to him. Can he make the grand escape? Can Otter chase him down? Safeguarding over the wall. Beely bolting to the wind, and Otter will continue the chase. I don't think he's going to find Beely today. Beely not going to get the pentakill over as Resolve will just close the game out here. London are just squashed in the first game of the UKLC.
Completely routed start to finish. Resolve just understanding their teams or their drafts win conditions. Rather, Beely even dies on the fountain one last time. And Resolve, they're going to be picking up their first win, perhaps, of many if this game is anything to go by. And we kind of said, coming into this draft phase, or coming out of the draft phase, rather, that these loud, bombastic, very go compositions seem to be the stronger of the sort of compositions that you can look to draft at the moment and this meta. And I think Resolve kind of just showing that from start to finish. Now, I think it was just a bit of a draft gap in general anyway, I believe.
Yeah.
London just didn't really have much damage to work with. I think they were working with a lot more CC and sort of the scaling elements of that Seraphine and Tristana. But what does it matter if you're never allowed to scale? Because the enemy team composition just runs you through the mud from start to finish.
It's interesting because it didn't feel like a bad comp.
No,
at all.
It was just comp to comp. It was just a mismatch. I think is the.
It was. I think in like another setting, like London's comp wasn't bad. I think just Resolve had a comp that suited the current meta more, and they really played to their win conditions. Because if they didn't play that game fast and loose, I genuinely think London just win because they would have outscaled. But they didn't get the breathing room. They didn't get the space. So for now, that is going to be Resolve finding their first win. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but before that, it's time to pay some bills. So we're going to throw to the ad break, and then we're back in a moment.